Warning, this video will be covering The Sign with as little spoilers as possible, as an excuse for me to gush over the episode, but still give a chance for those who haven't seen it to go out and watch it.
Alright, here we go!
And where do I even begin? This episode is beyond phenomenal. This episode was basically a pilot almost for what a Bluey movie is going to be like, and they have even said in articles that if this episode does well that they're going to make a Bluey movie, and I am absolutely enamored, enthralled, just all the positive words you can put into this little speech here about this episode. And the general consensus online is that this episode is absolutely phenomenal, and it might seem like after all we will get a Bluey movie if they seem to keep their promise, or if Joe Brum so wishes to.
You promised, and you shouldn't break a promise.
But let's actually talk about why this episode is so phenomenal and why it made me cry like a baby. In the live stream for this episode with the watch party where I watched this episode live with everyone, I was crying like a baby in ways that other episodes just doesn't do to me. Like, I was sobbing for multiple minutes as opposed to a quick cry, which is usually offered by other episodes that sucker punches you in the feeling.
My stomach!
But instead, this episode feels like it drops an entire semi-truck on you of emotions. It's just that good. I cannot state that enough. Like, I'm literally about to cry just thinking about the ending. It's like this emotional roller coaster happening throughout the entire episode, all building up towards the end, and the end just lasts for this amazing, impactful about like 3 whole minutes where the music, I don't want to spoil what happens to the music, but the music, man, it's so amazing. When that song starts going, now after watching the episode and the second time I'm watching, I literally just start bawling my eyes out. And a big reason for why it made me cry so hard is that this episode really is just a perfect culmination of everything we've seen in Bluey. We have callbacks to so many different episodes, and I would highly recommend to not watch this episode before watching, I'd argue, all the other episodes prior to it, because we have callbacks to countless amount of episodes, like onesies. With even the bird symbolism being present in this episode, we have a callback to Baby Race and really Bluey's first steps in an amazing way throughout the episode, and especially near the end. We have a callback even to Mom School, and it's like the episode The Room was basically leveled up to 1,000 with its core central theme of,
I guess it's not The Room, it's who's been in it.
And it's so emotionally impactful. I would assume that anybody who's watching this right now has of course watched the previous episode Ghost Basket. If you haven't, go check out my deep dive on it, or maybe even just go check out the episode. But we know that the Healer House is for sale, and that's not a spoiler. We know that, assuming you've seen the episode Ghost Basket. And to see the Healer House potentially go and them tackle with this theme throughout 28 minutes, which I will mention, those 28 minutes flew by. I did not even realize it was 28 minutes when I was watching.
Whoa.
It was just that good. But during those 28 minutes, it has this negative overall theme of if the actions you're making are really the right choices for you, which is so beautifully well done in the episode. I do have to preference, I know this is almost in the middle of the video already, that this is completely non-scripted, so I'm probably going to have a lot less finesse than my other videos when talking about this, but once again, I really just gotta gush over this frickin' episode. And it has this huge underlying message of like how life is unpredictable, and it almost feels really weird for a Bluey episode, and it has confused a lot of people online, where you see some people even saying that they felt disappointed by the ending of this episode because they felt like it was a cop-out. And although I don't share that opinion, I find it really ironic and perhaps even meta of them to almost have a joke about the theme of the episode being told by Calypso in the middle of the episode, and all the kids around them don't quite understand, and we even have some people in real life not quite understanding the message or even the theme of this unpredictability of life, or however you want to put it within the episode.
Everything will work out the way it's supposed to, Bluey.
And within that Calypso story, they have basically a telling of like, why does everything have to have a happy ending, and why doesn't life sometimes have bad endings? And it's almost a big commentary on that throughout the entire episode. And once again, I feel like it's really funny that it parallels really well with the people who don't quite understand the ending or doesn't quite enjoy the ending. And I feel like a big part on why some people don't quite like the ending is because there's a lot of parts in the episode where it's like blink and you miss it. And a lot of Bluey episodes, they have lots of setups in the beginning.
Mom, how do animals with no tails know when they're happy?
And then it accommodates at the end. And usually those are spanned within 7 minutes. But because of this episode being 28 minutes, it kind of feels like all those build-up moments get lost because you're just watching this ginormous masterpiece. And you're just so busy feeling emotional and being captivated by what's playing on the screen that sometimes those blink and you miss it moments do get missed because you're just focusing on everything that's happening because there's just so much happening on screen. And I gotta say, because of the theming of this episode, there's even difficulties with communicating like the adults' feelings to the children, which is never seen in other episodes. And it's hard because how do you even confront your children with the type of stuff that's shown within the episode? It's shown really beautifully, but it's just so hard to see Chili and sometimes Bandit being speechless and being sad whenever the topic of moving is brought up. It's just... Man, I keep saying it, but it is really something else. If I did have to say one bad thing about the episode, I would say that the butterfly, you know, the ellipses butterfly that we've been hyping up and the creators of Bluey been hyping up for forever, didn't feel as impactful as they were going for. Like, I understand the symbolism behind the butterfly, and I understand what they were trying to do, but in the behind the scene Bluey podcast for Slide, they mention that one of the creators cried when thinking about the symbolism for the butterfly. And I think it's beautiful for the episode, but it never made me cry or feel as emotionally attached or maybe impacted as much as they were saying it was going to be, which makes me feel like maybe something was cut with the butterfly. But the butterfly was done in a way that fits the overall purpose and theme of the episode, but I don't want to quite spoil on why that is. Of course, further down the road, when I do talk about the episode with a proper deep dive where I can show spoilers and everything like that, hopefully I can explain a little bit more on why I feel that way. But I really want to wrap up this video here. I just had to gush over this episode. I showed Mrs. Pugly the episode this morning. She cried. I was crying. My dogs were up during that and I had to clean it up while crying.
Yeah, that's the romance. Yeah.
It was just an amazing experience through and through, and I really enjoyed watching it live with you buddies on that watch party. But as always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I hope you buddies have a great day. Bye-bye.
Ready,